Hi everyone. Well, let's see, it's 3:54, so we're going to try to see if we can make this video short. Try real hard. Keep me on track.
So 4:30, we're good to go, right? So it's almost 4 now, because it's 36 minutes.
Yeah, well, I want this video to be about 20 minutes.
Very good.
Okay. Well, I've picked one of my favorite topics, which is one of my biggest challenges from time to time. And it's the topic of boredom.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think especially for people who are self-employed and they don't need to work 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, which is me and you.
Me and you.
And a lot of people are like that. A lot of people wish they could have the freedom that we do. I find that boredom is one of my biggest problems, and it's been challenging me in the last 1 year that I've lived in Boquete, Panama. And in fact, I remember I was like a single parent from the time my girls were 7 months and 5.5 years old. And I just felt I had so much to do. And one of my dreams was if I could have a year to myself after they grew up, and I wouldn't have to work many hours per week, and I could live a simple life and really take time to discover what my dreams, my new dreams are, and how to actualize them. And in fact, that's what has motivated me to start these videos, is because I want the purpose of healing is so that you can come to a place where you're not wasting energy on negative merry-go-rounds about traumatic experiences and negative experiences and all these emotions that control us and make us unhappy. So in 8 days, it'll be exactly a year since I arrived in Boquete, and I tell you, sometimes I really struggle with boredom. Is that a problem for you?
It is. And thinking about boredom, sometimes for me it's late in the day. It's like that after dinner and just before bedtime, too early to go to bed, nothing on TV. What can I do to be creative and to feel like I'm productive?
Okay? All right, so let's get to it and let's tap. Go to our karate chop. So if boredom is one of your problems, and even if you're working, 5 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day, have lots of responsibilities, what do you do when you're free by yourself? Okay? So if boredom is a problem, so we're going to start. This is how we start. We say, even though sometimes I feel so bored,
Even though sometimes I feel so bored,
and I don't know what to do,
I have no idea what to do.
I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
Even though sometimes I feel very bored,
Even though sometimes I feel very bored,
I have to know where to move my head. I deeply and profoundly love and cherish myself.
I deeply and profoundly love and cherish myself.
Even though sometimes I feel so bored,
Even though sometimes I feel so bored,
I deeply and profoundly love and accept, cherish and admire myself.
I deeply and profoundly love, respect, cherish myself.
Mhm. You can use any of them. Love, accept, cherish, admire, appreciate, any of them. All right, so now we're going to start giving ourselves permission to feel our boredom. Okay? So it is safe and beneficial for me to feel my feelings of boredom.
It is safe and beneficial for me to feel my feelings of boredom.
Um, I give myself permission to go into the depth of my boredom
I give myself permission to go into the depth of my boredom
and find out what is it about?
and to find out what it is really about.
Yeah. When do I feel bored?
When do I feel bored?
I feel bored when I have nothing meaningful to do.
I feel bored when I have nothing meaningful to do.
What do you keep? Okay, we'll just take turn. What do you feel bored about?
Oh,
When do you feel bored?
when I'm not being productive.
Okay, so the same. Like when I feel bored, when I'm not feeling productive. I feel bored when I feel that my existence is not making this world a better place.
Yeah. I feel bored when I'm not entertained.
I feel bored when I'm wasting time. Like if I watch too much TV, or if I eat for emotional reasons because I'm missing my children or my grandchildren or my mom or my best friends. Yeah, and I feel lonely. Sometimes I feel bored.
I feel bored if I feel like I'm in a rut, doing exactly the same thing that I did yesterday and the day before. I don't have something fresh in my life.
Okay, so you don't want monotony.
No.
Okay, so you want variety. Okay, I feel bored. I feel bored mostly when I look at my day and I don't have a day that includes service. Like if I'm not really serving someone, helping someone, for me it's more about like making a difference. Because I have such a strong value system about working for the betterment of the world through pure and good action that if I'm not doing that, then I feel like well, I've wasted my day.
I think it kind of rolls back to the purpose of life and the idea of being productive and why is it that we feel the stress of being productive many hours in the day.
And you know, it's like, okay, is this a big issue? For me, it's a big issue.
That's a big issue.
Okay, so let's tap on both sides. So
And
like,
readjust.
okay, so like recently, let's go down, all right, because I want people to see. So because this is a big issue, it's a big issue, take a lot of deep breath and tap on both sides, okay? So like recently, my grandson and his dad came for a visit. They were here 15 days and most of the time I didn't feel bored because I had a wonderful emotional connection with him. I love him a lot. I gave and received love, and we had lots of fun. But gradually, I started to get tired of the fun.
Uh-huh.
And what my soul really was longing was for me to have meaningful conversations with my grandson.
Like a deeper relationship.
Yeah, and once I got an opportunity to talk to him about his soul and God and life after death and the purpose of life. And he's only 9 years old, but he's very precocious. And I asked him, his name is Aiden, and I said, Aiden, what do you think is the purpose of life? And he said, to have fun. And I said, I don't think so. I think God did not create us to have one fun activity after another. I think God created us to make the world a better place through service, which is helping other people. And I asked him, I wanted to teach him the difference between temporary happiness and joy and long-term happiness and joy. And I said to him, okay, like he loved the four-wheel drive experience. And I said, okay, so you had that experience and it was lots of fun, going to the beach with me and we had lots of fun, jumping with the waves. But during the time we've been together, I said, did you ever do anything to help anyone? And he said, yeah, you know, that day when we rented the golf cart and you didn't go with us, we saw this woman who was carrying two small babies in her hand, and she also had a big load on her back, and she had another young boy with her. And we had two seats in the back of the golf cart, empty. So we gave her a ride. And I said, how did that make you feel? And he said, it just made me feel so wonderful. And I said to him, did you do it because you wanted her to say thank you to you or give you money? And he said, no, I just wanted to help her.
Yeah.
And I said, so that is like spiritual happiness.
I think so too. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I said to him, you know, God, I believe strongly that God has created us to do that kind of work. And when we do that kind of work, we feel spiritual happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I feel bored when I am not doing that kind of work. You know, when I don't do that kind of work, like if a day has passed and I haven't done anything to make a difference in someone's life, to benefit someone's existence, to make the world a little bit better through acts of kindness, then I feel bored. Is that true for you?
Yes, I think it's almost like having a love bank. And
Yeah.
it's like by doing something kind for somebody, we put a little love back in our bank, and we feel a little bit stronger.
Right.
Gives us something to think about.
Right, right. And you know, and the way it's beginning to show up for me, I have very active imagination, is that I feel like each of us is a candle, and when we are lighted by daily doing pure and good action, you know, we start shining like a brilliant star, you know, and we start increasing light instead of darkness to this world. So perhaps, is there more to boredom? Let's ask. Just let's become quiet and see. Is there more to our boredom? Like let's go to the last time we felt bored. And is there more? Is there, because as I said earlier, all our emotions have a gift for us. They were given to us by God to cause our awakening, spiritual awakening. So, like, what is the gift of boredom? The gift of loneliness we discussed was for us to connect. And what's the gift of boredom? I think the gift of boredom for me is that it's encouraging me to take inventory of my life, you know, and to see if I am if my present lifestyle is in harmony with my higher values. And if it is not, what changes do I need to make to my current lifestyle? What do you think is the gift for you?
I think it's the gift of discovery. And I think it leads me to discover things that intrigue me rather than spending my time being bored. I become intrigued by new things.
Okay. So let's stop here and say, I am so grateful for the new discoveries I've made about boredom.
I'm grateful for the new discoveries I've made about boredom.
And I'm open and receptive to discover more.
And I'm open and receptive to discover more.
Okay, and so let's stop again and say, because I'm a human being, and I have a higher soul, which is also called my human spirit, or the rational soul, yeah, which is a thinking soul. I experience boredom from time to time. When I am not living a meaningful life. And since the purpose of life is not just to have fun, but is to live a purposeful life. So boredom is a gift. Yeah, because it's telling me you're not living a purposeful life. Right. And to be open to create more purpose, more meaningful purpose in our life. So I am open and receptive. I'm open and receptive to be guided. I am so open and receptive. And take a deep breath. And let's go to our special spiritual guide, whoever it is for you. In the other tape, I talked about that, you know, guidance and wisdom and unconditional love from, whether it's God or one of the teachers from God, like Christ, Baha'u'llah, Buddha, Krishna, Moses, Zoroaster, Muhammad, or a very evolved spiritual being like Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela. Just go to the presence. Martin Luther King, definitely. Go to the presence of one of these wonderful spiritual, highly evolved spiritual beings. And of course, the station of Christ and Baha'u'llah, Buddha, and Krishna is much higher than Nelson Mandela, but whoever. And sit in their presence and ask for guidance and encouragement and strength and increased spiritual perception so that you can see your boredom with spiritual eyes. And ask them, what's the purpose of my boredom? How can I get rid of my boredom without turning to an addiction? Because most people turn to addictions when they're bored. Either turn to watching a lot of TV, or sleeping, or eating for emotional reasons, or having sex, or shopping, drinking alcohol, smoking, even traveling. Too much traveling and reading can be a distraction. So what's the guidance you got? Do you think the purpose of the boredom is so that we will turn to our addictions?
No. I think to a point, the boredom is something that sometimes we need to accept downtime too, and we need to accept that it's okay not to have something every minute of the day, and to let that boredom guide us into being patient with ourselves.
Sorry for the interruption. Okay. All right. So say that again. I missed it.
To allow us to teach us to be patient with ourselves.
To have downtime.
To have downtime.
Okay, what do you mean by downtime?
Time where you're not fully focused, fully engaged, that you can be in, you can be thinking, you can be meditating with meditation.
I agree.
And to take that boredom and turn it into something more constructive.
Yeah, in fact, during my grandson's visit, I noticed that we were always involved in outward activity. Let's go cycling, let's go swimming, let's rent four-wheel drive, let's do this, let's do that. And I remember, like, I told him one day, I said, let's have some inward activity. And he said, like, what, Grandma? And I said, what if we just go and sit? We were in Bocas del Toro in Panama, Caribbean Sea. And I said, why don't we just go and sit by the sea, by the Caribbean Sea, and just look at nature and just be quiet for 5 minutes and just don't say a word and just be alone with our spirit and with the creator of our spirit, and just see what shows up.
Yeah.
So I think that this is what meditation does. Is that like one of my friends, like he is right now by the ocean, and he said sometimes he just sits and walks and watches the waves. And then for the last few days I've been sitting in my balcony because I have a view of the mountain. It's really beautiful. And I have taken my computer on the balcony, and sometimes I just sit and I look at the mountain quietly. And I started with 1 minute, and then gradually I increased it to like 2 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah, and then gradually to 3 minutes. And when I was like looking at the mountains, I was asking, like, mountains are so majestic, and for me, they inspire me spiritually. And I was saying, supposedly I'm a mountain. But it's like mountains are so patient.
They do.
Yeah, they're so like centered. Yeah. So I guess it's this also creating time to discover that we don't have to be always doing. Like John Bradshaw, like um, John Bradshaw, who wrote, he talked about the importance of creating a healthy family system and dysfunctional family, and one of his books was called Healing the Shame That Binds You. And so he introduced the concept that many of us think that we are human doings rather than human beings.
Interesting point. I like
Yeah?
that.
Yeah.
That's something I will remember.
Yeah, and I've been like working on that because I used to be a type A personality, always doing. And I remember when I first came to the US, by the time I had finished the first 2 years of college, um, before I would go to bed at night, I would always think, okay, so you woke up at 6 in the morning and it's almost midnight, and it's like, how many things did you do today? And the more I had done, the more I would feel that I had accomplished, that I was important. And when I read this concept by John Bradshaw, the difference between a human doing and a human being, and I also read some of the research about the best managers are B-type personality, type B. People who are reflective and they delegate responsibility and they take time to think, and they don't need to go from one activity to another. So perhaps if I wasn't feeling so bored, I wouldn't be reflecting about all these wonderful things. So maybe this is the gift of boredom.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so let's tap again.
Okay.
Say it's safe and beneficial for me to make peace with my boredom
It's safe and beneficial for me to make peace with my boredom
and to release it.
and to release it.
Yeah, let it go.
Let's let it go.
Yeah, I'm ready to let it go.
I'm ready to let it go.
I'm ready to learn the lessons
I'm ready to learn the lessons
that boredom has drawn my attention to.
that boredom have drawn my attention to.
Yeah, there are areas of my life that I need to pay closer attention to.
There are areas of my life that I need to pay closer attention to.
And boredom is forcing me to do that.
And boredom is forcing me to do that.
And turning to my addictions is not making the boredom go away.
And turning to an addiction will not make the boredom go away.
Yeah, because it's like a band-aid.
It's like a band-aid.
Yeah.
Quick fix, but
Quick
doesn't
fix.
work.
Exactly. So I need to start really paying attention to what the boredom is drawing my attention to.
I need to really pay attention to what the boredom is drawing my attention to.
I'm so ready to start really listening to the messages.
I'm ready to start listening to the messages.
Yeah. And growing from this feeling.
And growing from this feeling.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's close our eyes and let's go to the presence of a spiritual being that we feel very close to and ask them for guidance. And once we have our answer, you can open your eyes. You have your guidance?
I'm good. Yes.
Okay, so what's your guidance?
To be patient, be more patient with myself.
Okay. My guidance was that when the boredom shows, don't be afraid of it, go and sit with it.
Yes.
But sit in an environment that is inspiring. Like go and sit on your balcony, look at the mountain, and then make every effort not to turn to an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, usually I love good movies. So usually I would go and watch a good movie. So I'm going to practice that. I'm not going to watch a good movie. When the boredom shows, and I'm not going to eat for emotional reasons. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit quietly. That was my guidance. Just go and sit quietly and see what shows up, what you need to pay attention to in your life. Okay, so let's tap one more time. It is safe and beneficial for me to follow my guidance.
It is safe and beneficial for me to follow my guidance.
I'm ready to follow my guidance.
I'm ready to follow my guidance.
I feel encouraged to follow my guidance.
I feel encouraged to follow my guidance.
I want to create a better life for myself.
I want to create a better life for myself.
So I'm going to follow my guidance.
So I'm going to follow my guidance.
I'm so ready to follow my guidance.
I'm so ready to follow my guidance.
Take a deep breath. And what is it that you need to feel when the boredom shows up for you not to feel overwhelmed and not to turn to an addiction? What is it you need to feel?
Patience with myself. Acceptance.
Okay, for me the same. So let's take a deep breath. And as we exhale, we can say acceptance. Again, another deep breath and say patience. So let's look at what we just did. All right. So when an emotion shows up, like this time we chose the emotion of boredom. So first we want to give ourselves permission to acknowledge the emotion and to feel it and to see what's the message, what are the gifts in this emotion, and then give ourselves permission to release it and go to our special spiritual guide and ask for guidance. And then we tap one more time to be open and receptive to follow the guidance. And then we'll see what happens. Now, what happens if next time boredom shows up and I go back to my watching a good movie and you go and do what? You turn on the computer?
Turn on the computer.
And what, surf the internet?
Try to do something productive. Try to come up with something to fill that space that is productive and work-related or accomplishment-related.
Okay, so then you need to let go of that.
You need to let go.
Because that is your attachment.
That's
Your
right.
addiction is you have to be productive all the time, right? And who benefits because you're productive?
No.
Are you making the world a better
No,
place?
not necessarily.
So you're just
Stressing
you're
myself
feeding
out.
you're feeding a limiting belief system.
Yes.
That your worth and value is dependent on you
Being productive.
being productive
Every waking minute.
every waking minute. Okay. So why don't we tap on that? Because one of the things that we use faster EFT for is to release limiting beliefs. So it is safe and beneficial for me to acknowledge this limiting belief.
It is safe and beneficial for me to acknowledge this limiting belief.
That my self-worth is dependent on me being productive every breath I take.
That my self-worth is related to being productive every breath I take.
I'm willing to release this limiting belief.
I'm willing to release this limiting belief.
Sometimes the best way to be useful and productive
Sometimes the best way to be useful and productive
is to outwardly do nothing.
is to outwardly do nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and just go and sit quietly with our spirit.
Sit quietly with our spirit and meditate.
Yeah, and just be with God, be with our spirit, and be in nature.
Just to be with God and to appreciate His nature.
Yeah. So I'm willing to do that.
I'm willing to do that.
I'm willing to try this.
I'm willing to try this.
See what happens.
And see how it goes.
Yeah, because I want to attract more spiritual happiness to my life.
I want to have more spiritual happiness in my life.
Yeah. I'm so ready to attract more spiritual happiness to my life.
I'm so ready to attract more spiritual happiness to my life.
Okay, and take a deep breath. What is it you want to feel? So take a deep breath and say peace. And I'm taking a deep breath and I'm saying joy. So we can do this many times a day. So as many times as the boredom shows up, we can just go and start tapping and say it's okay to feel the boredom. It's okay to release it, let it go. You know, I'm willing to I'm willing to be open to the gift of boredom and to embrace it. I'm so ready for it. And then go to that special being, whoever that person is for you, where you feel their the wisdom and the knowledge and the guidance and the acceptance, and then talk to them and receive the guidance, and then tap one more time and say you're open and receptive to following the guidance. Okay?
Excellent.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
For now, no. I feel really good about the things you're teaching us.
Good. All right. Well, have a great day, and we'll see you in our next video. Take care. Bye. This is Peace Faride Azad, and with my friend Rebecca.
Do you want to give a web address?
Oh, yeah, yeah. You can always contact me through my email, peacefaride@gmail.com. Peace like world peace. Peace, Faride, F like flower, ARIDEH @gmail.com, or you can contact me through my Skype, Peace95. All right, take care. Bye.